Yeah, absolutely. And the polls are all pointing in the wrong direction for the Democrats in the last few days, aren't they? There seems to be a lot of consensus that the Republicans are almost certain to get control of the House and possibly the Senate. Tell us what you think will unfold and what the repercussions will be for the Biden administration.
Right. Well, a couple of things on that. I mean, number one, as we say in Australia, when the swing is on, the swing is on. And we have seen a huge push and enthusiasm to the Republican side in all of the polls. Essentially, the Democrat message, which is about, esoteric questions around, culture war things versus the Republicans, which have really zeroed in on the economy, inflation, power prices, petrol prices, all of these things. Huge lesson in this, by the way, for the coalition, but that's another story. They have zeroed in absolutely like a laser on this, and people are responding. The price of eggs has almost doubled in the last year. Grocery staples like ground beef, mince, chicken, all these things way up in the prices. And people are really, really scared and concerned about this. They see the retirement savings falling apart, and they can't afford stuff like they used to. The Republicans are focusing like a laser on this, and people are responding. The Democrat message is essentially, if you do not vote for us, then somehow you're anti-democratic, you're a fascist, you're this, you're that. But it's not responding to people and their actual everyday concerns.
Tell us, you're not just in Louisiana for the music and the Cajun food. There's a pretty important Senate contest there too?
Well, yeah, right. I mean, like Joe Kennedy, who is running for the Senate here to be reelected, he is the Republican pre-poll ballots have been coming in faster than the Democrat ones. That shows there's a big swing on for the Republicans in Louisiana. We've just spent the last several days in Florida there again, where they report the number of pre-poll ballots coming in. Republicans are beating Democrats. That is huge because Democrats generally do better than the Republicans in those sort of pre-poll, mail-in, vote-by-mail, absentee ballots. So there's a big enthusiasm gap on the side of the Republicans. If that carries through, then not only will they take the House, they'll take the Senate too, possibly by 52 to 48. If that happens, they've got control of all the investigatory committees. It means they can, A, stymie the Biden legislative agenda, but B, they can have investigations into everything Biden's been up to, Hunter Biden, the Justice Department, and so on and so forth, and make all sorts of headaches for the Democrats going into that crucial 2024 race. And the other thing we've heard from so many people, even Democrats, is they do not want Joe Biden to run again in 2024. They think he's too old. They think he's past it.
Well, look, I read some speculation of the last couple of days, leaks actually, suggesting that he's looking seriously at putting a team together to run again. This is obviously designed to make it look like that's a possibility during the midterms. He can't run again. There's no way known Joe Biden can run again. And if anyone thinks he can, just have a look at this. I'm going to show you a clip and then get your thoughts on it, James. This is Joe Biden just a couple of days ago, ostensibly talking about education, but I don't think he knows what he's talking about.
Well, if anybody think if we're doing it for the first time now in the 21st century, going into the 20th, from the 20th century going into the second quarter of the 21st century, that we'd say 12 years is enough? I think 12 years is enough going into 20, 30, 40, 50?
James Morrow, do you think the president even knew what he was trying to say?
Well, I mean, he's always had a bit of a habit of stumbling over words, but more and more, these gaffes are so apparent. It really does feel like, he is an older gentleman. He is suffering, I think, from cognitive decline. I'm not the only one saying this. People are saying this. And the thing is, if he had actually said, I think I am going to step down in 2024, then I think the Democrats would have had a much better chance because they would have not had this huge issue of Joe Biden continuing to drag down the left and that side of the politics and the Democratic Party in the coming election. So I think it's a huge mistake for them to keep pretending like everything's okay with him when it's not. And, they were gaslighting Americans over this because when Donald Trump was president, if he sipped his water wrong or walked down the stairs the wrong way, they were like, oh, no, look, 25th Amendment, we got to get rid of him. He's senile, he's got cognitive decline, he's got dementia, whatever. And yet with Joe Biden, everyone was like, oh, no, he's fine. Americans are not buying it, Chris.
Yeah, great stuff, James. Safe travels to you and Rita, and you'll be back at 8:30 tonight with the US report from the States.
That's right, mate. Thanks. See you then.